Welcome to the Starfish Diaries. I am your host, Liz McKean, and you might have found me from another podcast or from yoga or through coaching or maybe a recovery event, but all that matters is that you're here now, and I am so glad that you're here. On this show, we're going to be talking about identity and self-trust and recovering from all sorts of things, including shame and burnout and squeezing ourselves into what we think good looks like. And I'm going to use a lot of metaphors because that's how I make sense of the world, and I'm hoping that helps you too. I'm really just here to remind you and honestly remind us that there is no such thing as doing life wrong, and that you do get to make your life into a place that you want to be, and we're going to figure it out together. So let's go. Hello and welcome to today's episode. I am delighted that you're here with me. Thanks for hitting play again. If you haven't already and you would like to, I would be even more delighted if you would hit the subscribe button on whatever podcast player you're listening on. If you feel called to hit a rating, review, all those things really help move the needle when it comes to podcasts finding the ears that are going to benefit from them. So I would love for you to share, for you to subscribe, for you to hit review. And honestly, if you just keep coming and hitting play, that also is a really big help. And I'm just so happy that you're here. So before we get totally into it, we're going to do one deep breath today. So when you're ready, just exhale all of your breath, empty out, and then breathe in through your nose. Fill up every bit. And open your mouth and slowly let all the air go. Yeah, and feel your shoulders just settle down away from your ears. Relax that space between your eyebrows. And let's do this thing. So today, I want to talk about the nicest compliment that I ever got. And it's connected to a really kind of powerful and tangible bit of evidence of growth that I've noticed in my life. And I feel like it just applies in all the areas of the things that we've talked about so far. So I had someone say to me a couple years ago that a thing they admired about me, which is always a really nice way to start a compliment, was that if I need help with something, if there's something that I need support with, something I'm struggling with, I go out and find that help. And I go get it. And it caught me a little off guard because that didn't used to be how I was. I definitely have been a DIY girl in most areas. I have never thought of myself as someone who, asks for help a lot. I've certainly needed it plenty of times, but really, kind of a pretty typical scenario for a person who is in recovery for sure, I think can describe is having not asked for help for a very long time when one really needed help. And I can definitely point to a lot of times in my life where every sign pointed to this lady needs some freaking help, like ASAP. And I pushed through and did not get the help I needed. And it caused a lot of pain. And it wasn't until I was able to get help that I finally was able to create a life, a world, a network, a support system that is what I have today. And so to hear that was like, wait, do I do that? And I was like, holy crap, I really do. Like if I'm struggling in some way, whether it's mental or physical or spiritual or emotional, I seek it out. And I find that to be the best use of my time and resources. I will find a therapist that I like. Not only that, if the times that I've gone to a therapist and it's not been helpful, like there's not been a click, I just don't go there anymore. I will find a doctor if there's something going on health-wise that I need support with. If this doctor doesn't help, I will find another one. And like that takes some advocacy. I mean, particularly as a woman in the American healthcare system, it takes some freaking advocacy to say like, hey, this isn't working. I need more than what I'm getting here, and I'm going to go out and get it. And, a lot of this type of help, I know that when I'm talking about therapy, when I'm talking about doctors, things like that, it's expensive as hell. So it comes with a whole lot of privilege to be able to make, those kinds of asks and to make those kinds of changes. So this is simply, one particular manifestation of this, I think. But I do want to acknowledge the privilege that comes with those types of supports. And similarly, when I decided I wanted to start my coaching and consulting business, I reached out to a coach who I had followed for a long time and knew that there was good energy there, knew there was a click there, and I hired her, and she's been incredible. And times that I have wanted to, when I had knee surgery and I was really worried about getting back to the level of fitness that I was before. Yoga is something that is incredibly important to me, both as a teacher and as a student. And to not have that was a threat to my mental health as much as physical health. So I found a trainer that was going to help rehab me beyond just physical therapy. I wanted some personal training. I wanted someone who was going to be able to help me get on a program that would keep me safe and also allow me to heal. And that was fantastic. And when I haven't been able to afford those things, I have sought it out on YouTube. I have sought it out on message boards, like finding places that not only had the answers or support or accountability that I wanted, but also felt like the right fit, and trusting myself to make those discernments. So it's kind of both an outside and an inside job. And gosh, it was just so cool to be able to realize that. Like, what an awesome thing for somebody to say to me, to reflect back to me that was a thing that I do that actually inspired them to want to ask for help when they needed it. And that also made me think about how fortunate we are to be in this moment in the world where, honestly, there's a lot of things that feel not very fortunate at all. There's an enormous amount of pain. But, one good thing, if we're going to just kind of land on that side of the spectrum for this conversation, is there is a lot more out there. And I think in this age of internet and social media, etc., God, there are some really beautiful helpers out there. I think about that Mr. Rogers quote where when he would get scared about the state of the world, his mom would say to him, look for the helpers. When something bad is happening, there's always helpers. Look for the helpers. And more than ever, I feel like the helpers are visible. The harmers are also pretty visible, and that's really challenging. But I guess a place that I would recommend starting if you're feeling like, that's all nice for you, but what the heck does that mean for me? I mean, we're all pretty chronically online, so maybe a place to start is looking for the helpers. If you're feeling a little dissatisfied, if you're feeling a little scared, if you're feeling a little unsure of even where to start, whatever your platform of choice is. I mean, good job podcast-wise. You found one. Here I am. But maybe Instagram is what you sit and scroll on. If you're finding there's a lot of things that are just getting your hackles up as you scroll, maybe it's time to get rid of the ones that make you feel icky. Maybe it's time to look for the helpers. And when you see the helpers, the ones that make you feel good, the ones that give you hope, like even if it's just little stories of puppies that are, finding homes, maybe that's where you start. And if you're a person who is, in or seeking recovery and you're looking for some help, there's a lot of that out there now too. There's so many different options. There's so many different organizations. There's so many different types of activities and events and meetings. And if you want to make a commitment with finances, there are coaches you can hire. But you don't have to, you don't have to do it alone. I think whether it's recovery or your mental health or just trying to make your life a place you want to be. So, this is going to be a short one. Because another thing I feel that I'm able to do now that I wasn't before, in addition to asking for help, in addition to hiring help when I need it, it's to recognize when I need rest. And today is one of those days where the world has felt busy and my mind has felt busy. and I'm tired. And so I talked to some of my helpers today. I just fortunately had a therapy appointment today with this wonderful therapist who I'm so lucky to have worked with for a year. And I had some messages with my coach. And I just feel so supported and so lifted up. So in this kind of chaotic moment, I got the outside help. And now the thing that I can do for me is I can sit and I can rest and I can breathe. And talking to you about it has been really helpful too. So thanks for being part of it. If you are looking for recovery supports, 2 episodes back, I had a conversation with you about recovery and listed some resources there. So those are listed in those show notes. And if you are looking for coaching support, if you're kind of generally trying to figure out how to make your life a place that you want to be, maybe you are later in recovery, or maybe you are just kind of looking around at your life right now and thinking, I feel like there's something that could be a little bit better, but I just don't even know how to start. I don't know even where to make a plan. That's something that I can help with. I'm also a coach. So if you want to work with me, you're welcome to reach out and I would love to talk to you. So I'll put a link in I almost said bio. I'll put a link in the description for that as well. But again, just showing up here, I think, is a really kind thing to do for yourself, because if there is somebody that you connect with enough to spend even 10 minutes listening to them talk, then I just feel like that is evidence that you are a person also who seeks out the thing that you need. And if you need a deep breath, you've come to the right place. So we're going to do that together. So before we do any organized breathing situation, maybe just take a moment, maybe even close your eyes if you're in a place where it's safe to do that, and notice where you've got tension. It is amazing to me, even as a person who teaches this, even as a person who, does this on a podcast however many times a week, I will close my eyes and realize that I am clenching the hell out of my jaw. I'll realize I am actively picking my cuticle. I am even just like clenching my toes into the ground. Like, what is up with that? So where can you release just a little bit of tension? Maybe it's in your face. Maybe it's in your shoulders. Maybe it is in your toes. Wherever it is, unclench. Maybe give your cuticles a break, or your nails if you're a nail biter. I'm not that, but man, this cuticle picking situation, it's serious. So now that you released a little bit of tension somewhere, good job. Just take a regular cleansing breath in and out. Okay, and then exhale everything. Let every little bit of breath go. Squeeze your belly button in towards your spine, knowing that you're all empty. And then biggest breath you've taken today, in through your nose. Hold it at the top and exhale out of your mouth. Good. Do that again. Big breath in through your nose. Feel everything fill. Feel that breath wrap around all the stuff you need to get rid of, and then let it go. One more, just for good luck. Big breath in through your nose. Hold at the top. Sip in just a little more air. And then how big and long can your exhale be? Unclench your jaw. Maybe smile. Know that I adore you. And I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of Starfish Diaries. I want to take a quick moment to thank some of the people who have made this possible. The artwork that I am so in love with is by my friend and the most talented artist, Mo Houston, and you can find her and her work and work with her by going to Joy Scout Studios. I will have that linked in the show notes. And thank you to my incredible editor, Sean Gritters. If you are looking for production support with your podcast, highly recommend that you check him out. His information will also be in the description.